CAT students, if you are busy with your CAT-PAT, here are 5 CAT-PAT tips that can help you with your phase 2 spreadsheet. So let's start off with CAT-PAT tip number 1, and that is you need to get outside data. If you look at the rubric, there's this little part over here that says you need information other than your questionnaire. So you can't just have a spreadsheet of data from your questionnaire, you need to find other information. So you got your questionnaire, but you need to find research information from outside sources. Your questionnaire is very much based on opinions, so your research could maybe focus on more factual information that you want to include in your spreadsheet so that you can use formulas and charts to give summaries about that research. So to find that information, I would first go look at your 10 questions. All those sources that you use to find information about your topic, I would go look in there. You're looking particularly for things that contain numbers or statistics, because that's what you can actually chart. If you cannot find something from the sources from your 10 questions, then you might have to search for some more information. And use good keywords like using your topic, but include the word statistics. You could also include the year, but maybe not this year, but the previous year, to find out if there are any surveys or questionnaires that were done in previous years, and then go back even further, maybe the year before that and so on, to see if you can find any information that has numbers or stats in it. So something along the lines of this, where you can see a breakdown of the different AI tools and you can actually see those percentages. That's nice to be included into your spreadsheet, because there you can actually create a chart of those numbers. If you can't find factual information, you might want to find information that is similar to the opinions that you asked for in your questionnaire. For example, something like this about the impact of AI, and then you can take those percentages and compare them with the answers that you got from the people that answered your questionnaire. But as always, remember you must get the reference details, especially if this is not in your 10 questions. I would actually include the source information in your spreadsheet. Get all the details like the data was accessed, the title of the website, the source. Get all that information so that when you talk about this in your report in phase 3, you can reference it correctly. All of this is talked in detail in my video about external data for your spreadsheet. I'll put a link in the video description. Go watch that video to get all the exact details. But it's an easy mark to get. You just got to make sure that you include it. And then CAT-PAT tip number 2 is going to be COUNTIF, and COUNTIFs are going to be your bread and butter for a lot of your formulas. If you look at how you get the marks for the different types of formulas, there you can see a COUNTIF is level 2 and COUNTIFs is level 3. And I would suggest using a lot of them, because that's going to help you find information to talk about. So for example, if we've got data like this, where we've got lots of yeses and nos, and we want to determine how many people said yes and how many people said no, that's when we can use a COUNTIF. And you use that formula equals COUNTIF, followed by the range and then what you are counting. But if you want to be more efficient, you don't actually want to refer to the no, you want to refer to the cell that contains the word no. That would be a better use of spreadsheets, and that will then allow you to copy the formula down, because as you copy it down, it will refer to the next value that you used as a label. However, when you do this, you'll notice that your range changes. So it's a good idea to also use absolute cell referencing to make sure when you copy that formula down, it doesn't change the range that contains the answers to the questions. And that way you can find out how many people said yes and how many people said no. And you can do this for various questions in your survey. Now you can also use COUNTIFs when you want to find information from 2 different questions. For example, you want to find out how many people said yes but in grade 10 or 11 or 12. So you will set it up like a table like this, and then in that block for the number of grade 10s that said yes, you'll include a COUNTIFs formula, where you can have range criteria, and so on. And in our first range, we are looking for the number of people in question 1 that said yes. So we looked at that range and we looked for the yes of that question. And then for our next range and criteria, we're going to look at the grade column. And we're looking for how many people are in grade 10 in that grade column. And by combining those 2 criteria, we can find out how many people said yes for grade 10, how many said yes for grade 11, and yes for 12, and then the no's as well. I have a video that revises COUNTIFs for you. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, if you need to recap how to use a COUNTIFs. But this is a really useful formula to create summaries of the data so that you can talk about trends. Now, CatPat tip number 3 is how we can use our mode formula to link up with a lookup. And if you remember, we talked about level 2 and 3 with our previous CatPat tip, but here we're looking at level 1, which has the mode option, and level 4 has a lookup. So by using this tip, we can make sure that we use the other types of formulas. And if you remember, mode determines the most popular option, the option that occurs the most. So that is really useful for a question where you have a range of answers on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 meaning this, 2 meaning this, and so on. This is a really useful idea for that, where you can find out which was the most popular option. And for that, we're going to use our mode formula on that question to determine which number was typed in the most. But each of those numbers represent a particular opinion or view. So it is a good idea to maybe include the labels for 1 to 5 in another sheet or somewhere else on that spreadsheet, where you label what a 1 means, what a 2 means, what a 3 means, what a 4 means. And then once you've done that, you can go back to your formula where you've worked out the most popular option. Let's say, for in this case, that 4 was the most popular option. But now we need to find what that 4 represents in the table by using a VLOOKUP. And we are going to take that value, which is the most popular, and then we're going to use that value to go look up in the table that shows what a 1 means, what a 2 means, and so on. And we are looking for the label in column 2 to be displayed. So as you can see in this case, the most popular option was 4, which represents the word often. And in this way, we've now used both level 1 and level 4 type formulas. And then CatPat tip number 4 is to understand the difference between values and percentages. Because sometimes we get too focused on the values and we don't understand what those values mean. What do I mean by this? Well, if we look at the following data, there you can see the teens that said yes and teens that said no to a particular question, and the adults that said yes and the adults that said no. If I look at just the number of yeses and nos and I plot that in a chart, I'll get something that looks like this. And from this chart, you might say something like adults are double the amount of teens when it comes to the number of yeses. And that's because we are looking at just the values. But that viewpoint is actually not that accurate. And it would be better if we referred to the percentages. So for the percentages, you need to work out the total number of people in each category. For example, in this case, there are 10 teenagers that did the survey, and there were 30 adults that did the survey. And so now, instead of looking at the 9 as a value, we're going to look at the 9 as a percentage of how many teens there are in total. So in a different table, it would be a good idea to put a formula where we equal the number of yeses divided by the total number of teens. And there we can see that that is 90%. And if we do the same for the adults, 18 divided by 30, we are getting 60%. And we can do that for all of the values, dividing the value divided by how many people there are in total for that category. And so now if I plot the number of yeses based on the percentages, I'm going to get a chart that looks like this, which looks very different. And this is a little bit more accurate. And if I compare that with the values chart, you can see that they are completely different. And we will come up with completely different trends based on that. But the percentages is more accurate, and we can then say things like teens are more likely to say yes because 90% of the teens did say yes. The number of teens saying yes is a bigger percentage of the total number of teens. And we do not get that image from using the values in the chart on the right there. So that's why it's important when you are working out the values that you also work out the percentages to get a better indication of what is the actual trend. And then CatPat tip number 5 is to create meaningful charts. It's not just about making charts, it's about charts that are meaningful, that you can find trends and can talk about information. So for example, the biographical information is not very useful at all. If I look at the number of people in the grade or in a city or the gender, that doesn't tell me anything unless I combine that information with other data related to your survey. For example, the number of grade 11s that said yes in question 1, the number of people in Gqeberha that said yes in question 2. Pair biographical data with other questions if you're going to use biographical data. And because you're probably not going to have an even grouping of grade 10s, 11s, or 12s, or people from particular cities, refer to CatPat tip number 4 about the percentages to get a better view of those values. And then also make sure that you are not creating a chart of the data, but of the summary. If I have a whole bunch of yeses and nos and I create a chart of that data, my chart's going to look like this, which is nothing. It's useless. It is better to create the summary using our count ifs that we mentioned earlier, find out how many people said yes, how many people said no, and then you chart the summary data, and then you get something like this, which is a lot more valuable and useful. So don't chart the data, chart the summaries. The stuff that your formulas are telling you, the summary that contains all your formulas. And then make sure that you are picking the right graph for the right data. When you've got a whole range of options like yeses and nos and maybes, this is really good for a pie chart where you can see what percentage each one makes up of the total. If you've got data that is expressed over a particular timeline, then a line chart would be better to reflect the change in time. And if you've got groups of data, especially in a table format, that will be really nice to create a column chart or bar chart. Just make sure that your groupings are evenly grouped. For example, there you can see group 1 has 15 people in total. Group 2 also has 15, same with group 3. So that would be a good example where we can use the values. If your groups are very skewed or not very similar in size, then you need to make use of the percentages that we mentioned earlier as well. So to recap, our CatPat tips for the spreadsheet. Number 1, use the outside data. You cannot just use your questionnaire data, find other statistics. Make sure that you're using lots of count if and count ifs. That's going to help find you the information about the summary. Don't forget about level 1 and 4 questions by using the mode and the lookup, especially with those questions where you've got a scale from 1 to 5. And make sure that you understand percentages and not just looking at the values to determine trends and understanding the real information. And then lastly, make sure that your charts are meaningful. It's not just about creating charts, it's about using the correct type of charts and using the correct data for those charts. So there's are your tips. I'm sure by using them, you're going to see your marks skyrocket for the phase 2 spreadsheet. Don't forget to watch the other videos in our video series, which are going to give you everything you need in order to maximize the marks for the spreadsheet. Good luck with your phase 2. Make sure that you follow the tips that I've given you, and I'm sure you're going to get top marks for your PAT. For all our other videos on the PAT and the tips that can help you get all the marks, make sure that you subscribe to our channel at Mr. Long IT and Cat. Follow us on TikTok at Mr. Long Education. We give lots of advice there as well. And remember, don't do it the long way, do it the Mr. Long way.